Hello everyone, welcome back to the Spooky Island YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be moving on to episode 3 of the Juvenile Justice TV show on Netflix. Again, the last episode was quite an impactful one. A lot of these cases are true from this show, and it is quite upsetting and sad when you kind of find out that they actually are real cases. And yeah, this stuff actually happens, which is, yeah, it's just generally just really, really bad. But again, it's still, to me, done very well, I think, so far, from what I've seen from the first 2 episodes. Something like this was done to kind of show what goes on, and for someone who doesn't really know much about this, yeah, it is quite emotional, especially again when you're thinking about how you feel from kind of an outsider of this situation or the case, and how it differs from the actual people involved in the case, furthermore in the court, and who's been impacted by it, by either losing their son, like the last case, which you can't even imagine how they feel. And yeah, it's upsetting viewing it from a TV show perspective, but yeah, it's just, again, it's something which you can't comprehend. So yeah, I will again move on to episode 3 of the Juvenile Justice show right now. So here we go. This is where it ended last episode. This doesn't look good from the get-go. It's just a completely different playing field when you're dealing with young offenders compared to adults. Because there's so much which you can't do, which you could do for an adult. So for what I'm getting, it's difficult already, because there's already no support from her end. It feels like no one's there, and it is kind of the most important time of your life when you're in your teens, because it's kind of your stepping stones turning into an adult. But I think to me, you can't treat them any way different to whatever person you're treating. It doesn't matter. If they've gone through the fact they've been assaulted, it should be treated the same. The assault case is something for me, they really do annoy me. So this is another kind of difficult case, because in the last one it was murder. This is assault. And I'm guessing she will feel like she can't say much, because then she'll get in trouble with the person who's doing it to her, and it could get worse. I think that's what happens with life. I think people find out what you're like, maybe, and then they straight to judge on that information, and you don't know their life. You don't know how their life's been. You don't know what they've been through, and it's very harsh to have an opinion like that straight away. Wow, them numbers. It's upsetting when you realise how much of it goes on, and the percentage of how much is not reported, like she's saying. To me, she's the only one really doing her job. I feel like the other people are just happy, but something has to be done. She has a right to have a question. That's why they're there for, and have a position to say. To me, what I'm seeing is too easy for the assailtant to get away with this. It feels like nothing gets done to do with this type of case. And it's a big thing. It's an incredibly big thing, especially if you're the person or the victim going through with it. Because it never ends. It's not just one assault, it leads to many more if the person's not done. And someone who even gets to the point of assaulting someone is probably someone who will not change their ways, and they will keep on doing it. If it's not, it could be anyone. They could assault anyone. It might not be the same person, it might be other people. And it's a constant chain of people who get impacted by this. It is disgusting, to be honest. It's just difficult, because the way I feel most people act is that if you're harsh to someone, or you're very I guess you could say horrible to someone because they make a mistake. I don't think they grow from that, and it doesn't help the situation. Some people it helps because they know they won't make the mistake again, but other people it's quite hurtful. This is going to really piss me off. I guess she seems like a person, again, doesn't really want to be put in a position to explain what goes on. She might feel a bit awkward of the situation. So for her actually coming out and being truthful about it's very hard, especially if you have all these cops and detectives and people asking all these questions of what happened and how she got the bruises. I'm guessing it would be very difficult for her to come out. But from what I'm getting and what I've perceived of how she started the episode of where she was walking, it's very serious, and it's like she wants to like kind of say what's happened and that, but she just inside probably knows she can't. She's horrible to see, and from what I'm seeing, her life has been very difficult. The question is why is she lying? It feels like to me she doesn't want to lie, but at the same time she doesn't want to say what happened because she knows. It's difficult. I'm guessing the guy has something on them. I think for the law in general, I think there's always a way you can improve the system. I think there's a lot of flaws, but it's just some things you're like, wow, it's just like this just feels to me that there isn't a big enough punishment for some of these crimes, and they are crimes. Then it's no different to anything else. And again, it goes back to the point where it's just too easy to get away with stuff. It's about finding a balance. He's a great actor, by the way. I really like him. Favouring their personal interests. And this is the stuff which you don't see. You don't see, again, you could cast them as the higher ups, and the way how it's dealt with up there, it's completely different from the judge, from the higher ups, to situations which in some cases it looks like it's being dealt with correctly, but then there's stuff which isn't being done correctly, and it's a bit of foul play. Exactly, it's straight up again judging someone, and it's judging them by their actions, but you would like to think there's reasoning behind everything. Some stuff can't be reasoned with, but you always kind of think there's a reason why they're maybe like that. You'd hope. It feels to me they're on a ticking clock. And again, they say 24 hours. It's... He should never be doing that though, should he? It's difficult to me to call someone like that your son, even though he is, but again, I'm not them. I haven't been through what they're being through, but to me, it's just horrible. The fact he would attack his own daughter. I hate the fact there's someone who's taking advantage of someone. And someone who thinks they can get away with anything. And again, obviously, he's the dad. He's not a young offender. So you're dealing with an adult now. But again, you're still acting for, obviously, the victim's purpose of being young too. So and it ruins their life. It ruins their life. Something like assault. And for her, to me, it seems like it's made it very difficult for her to live a normal life. Because to me, you always would be panicky of what to say and what to do. And I guess this is why you get to the point where you see her and the way she is the reasoning for it. And then you go back to the numbers again. You look at the numbers and you think of how much of it goes on and how much is like this. It's crazy. And then it shows to the fact of why people don't maybe report it, because nothing gets done. That's the percentage of people who don't bother. Because from what I'm seeing, there's endless cases which don't get sorted out.
바꿔치매라도 하겠다는 거야?
아, 여기 연화종합병원 병동인데요. 서유리 담당 판사님이시죠? 혹시 지금 서유리 환자와 같이 있나요?
She escaped.
퇴원 날짜 확정돼서 알려드리러 갔는데 환자분이 안 보여요. 보호자분 연락도 안 받아요.
서유리 환자였어요.
I think she kind of expected that to happen. That's why she wanted to do what she wanted to do.
심은석입니다. 저는 요양병원에서 뵙던. 혹시 오늘 중으로 서유리 보시면 보내주셔서 저한테 바로 연락 좀 부탁드릴게요.
찾아보신다고 병원 보안팀 갖고 같이.
네, 알겠습니다.
You would like to think all the judges and all the people in the law would do the same with what they're doing now, trying to find, but I don't know the percentage of the amount of people who would do what they're doing right now.
이름 서유리, 04년 10월 1일 생입니다. 서둘러 주세요.
저 혹시 이 친구 본 적 있으실까요?
아니요, 없는데요.
잠깐만 좀 돌아보고 가겠습니다.
네.
아, 뭐 가져왔지 당연히. 잠깐만. 나 다 왔어. 야, 씨, 오늘 왜 이렇게 춥냐? 여기 맞아? 맞는 거 같아, 맞는 거 같아. 야, 은소희.
야, 까봐.
Freaking hell, man. Seriously? Wow. Seriously? That much of a freaking coward? God. What a horrible person.
어떻게 나한테 이래?
누가 나 키래?
씨발 개 같은 녀석 뭐라 이거 씨발!
I need to find her quick. Oh, but then you think again, what's the punishment for them going to be?
유리 아버지가 데리고 간 거 아닐까요? 아니요, 그건 아닐 겁니다. 유리 아버지께 이번
Because I think if they were that scared of the law, they wouldn't be doing it. That's the thing.
일단 계속 찾아볼 테니까 소식 들어온 대로 바로 연락 주세요.
Just even thought of doing it doesn't cross my mind of how they would think like that to do that. It just
잠깐. 방금 연락이 왔는데
it's not human.
찾은 것 같다, 서유리.
It's just horrible what she's going through. I really, again, you can't comprehend it. Again, it's the same situation, similar to the other case, and I'm feeling like it's going to be like that for all the cases. It just feels like nothing for her goes right. Unfortunately, when you're in that type of stuff, it's hard to get out.
유리야, 신고하자. 응? 판사님만 도와볼게.
하면요, 뭐가 달라지는데요?
접근 제한, 생권 제한, 아버지로부터 어떠한 연락이나 접촉도 제한할 수 있어. 너는 집에서 나와서 쉼터에서 지내.
그러니까 그게 싫다고요. 제가 참아야
just horrible thing. Like, you think people that age should be completely different to the way she is there. She should be almost in a position where she's enjoying her life and she's young, but she's getting all this crap and stress and stuff she shouldn't be dealing with. This must be. I think it is very hard for the judge here. I feel like she wanted to cry, but she's keeping it in. It's difficult when none of this situation's getting sorted out, and to get her away from all the shit she's basically getting. They're so different with their views, but I think it comes back to the point of finding a balance. Yeah, I couldn't even imagine. I think there's definitely more to her story, the judge's story in this situation. It's very difficult because you would think, I think she does care, because she wouldn't be doing this job, but there's different ways you can care. And it can, this type of thing, again, the way she maybe acts, maybe she will look like the bad person, but again, it's difficult with this type of stuff because it's hard to deal with someone who is a young offender or a young victim, because I think either way, either works or doesn't work. Being more strict or being too nice. Because if you be too nice, they get away with stuff. If you're too harsh, it's not like you're giving them a chance. That's why I constantly say it's a balance, but a balance is the hardest thing. It seems like it should be easy, but it's not. And sometimes a balance won't get the job done and get this case closed and the assaultant being charged. Oh, I don't like the way he's coming over. Oh. If that's the way you think of the situation, you should not be it. You should not be the one parroting over her. I'm sorry. What, assault? No. It's not by physical actions you should be doing it. It's ridiculous. Don't you realise the reality of what you've done to this girl? It's not just physically, it's mentally. People forget that. It's mental as well.
내가 널 가둔 이유는 딱 하나야. 법정에서 나오는 거.
And even the way the judge comes over firm, sometimes the firm way is the only way to get justice. And sometimes you have to take bad comments and all that type of stuff, like you're wrong and that, to be right in the end. I love the way the judge comes over confident, because you have to be. One bit of like uncertainty makes it something which you wouldn't believe. Like she could get justice. How scared she must have been. No. No. Then you go back to the percentages again and you see how much of this goes on. Shocking. And you're chuckling. No, lock him up. It's like nothing. It's like it doesn't cross his brain what he's done. I can't believe there's people out there like that. Oh, God. See, what's the sentence here? This is it's going to be very interesting to see the punishment for this. Yeah, that's the thing you pick up on. There's no excuse. It feels for her, it's like she's on both sides, but you, and being her son, it's just, you have to stop that. There's a lot of responsibility here from people, to the point that, so you protect someone like that. What an evil man. I'm thinking it's very difficult for even the law people or the police to keep calm in a situation, because especially him, what he's been through, you probably would want to attack him. But then you would let him, that would mean he obviously got to him, and you don't want to be like him. Jesus, my God, it's so stressful. Like, it's just, you see this again, it's another one of these situations again where it's like there's so much wrong what I've seen there, and it's like, and that's just one case. And again, it still shocks me, the percentages of how much goes on with the case of assault, and so much which gets missed with it. Again, we don't know the punishment which he will receive, but it's completely different to murder, of course, but it's a crime which again also produces very long-term damage for the victims. Her son, to even approach her, to attack her, it's horrible. It's horrible. But again, going back to the fact of his punishment, you gotta also understand the situation if that was someone who was again younger and doesn't come under an adult, and then you kind of see how, if it was the same thing and how they would be treated, it would be very different to an adult. And it's just like, it just shows it's just something which can be done so easily, and there isn't a punishment. And we're seeing a glimpse here of it being dealt with, but you also got to think about the cases which don't get dealt with, which are almost to the same of this case, or can be in some cases even worse. And we saw an example of that, and you saw with the teenager, you saw her life in a way of, you kind of saw everything she went through, and to me there wasn't one bit of support, one bit of positivity from her life. She had no one she could support on, even her grandma. Again, she was split 50-50. She was there, but to me it didn't feel like there was support there, because she was always protecting her son, and she had no one to kind of lean on as someone. And I think in a way the judge kind of made that possible for her to have some support to get it sorted, even though she might seem harsh. She was the only one who, to me, seemed like she wanted to fix the matter, and not make it an ongoing issue. And I really hope that there is people very similar to her in the way she acts, even if she does seem pretty harsh, but people who generally want to sort out these cases and not let it just disappear, especially when it comes to them numbers. Again, with the assault cases, again, there's tons of different crimes which could be done. Again, she's kind of out there on her own, the judge, from all the other people. She was the one doing something. She was the one who stood up. And you go back to the start where you saw all the different people gathered for a meeting, and how all of them were just clocking along with their life, clocking away with what they were doing, like everything was fine. And again, to me, it's like splitting that thing away from a job. I think it's more than a job. It's not just something you get paid for and you do. It's something which, again, is affecting lives, whatever you choose. And I think for that as well, you got to understand, in some places, it's how difficult it is to be like that. And you're always stressed, and you can tell by last episode, she was obviously getting a bloody nose because of stress. It's remarkable that there's people out there who do this correctly and like this. But I think overall, I think they try to do their best. But sometimes In some cases, it's not good enough. But from that case there, it seems to me it's a stepping stone of something getting dealt with. But again, we don't know how this case went. We don't know the punishment. We don't know that, and that is the one thing which will mean to me if it's been dealt with correctly. Like, at the end of the day, they know what he's done. He's attacked multiple people and doesn't care. He's proud of what he's done. He's proud of attacking his own daughter, and that to me is a crime which again is hard to put time on due to the people who are doing it, but it's something which again it impacts someone's life. It's something which is very impactful, and again she still might not get over this and all this stuff which she's received, because it's not just her dad as well. It's from obviously the gang she got in with and her life in general. It's hard to get over this, even though if the problem's dealt with. So it's hard, but we will see next episode of how this plays out, this case. Again, a very hard one to watch. Again, it's very hard to have a say, because again, you're not there and I'm not there. I'm just going with how I feel on the situation, and again, it does kick you back into reality somehow. And sometimes it's something which really doesn't really cross your mind, any of this, until you kind of experience it, and it has for me, I think 100%. But yeah, that is episode 3 of Juvenile Justice, and I will move on to the next episode, which is episode 4 tomorrow. Cheers everyone for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers everyone, bye.